Um, yeah, intentions to sync with everyone, see what we're doing, get over our issues, and yeah, I don't think the planning is today, right? It's just a review. Yeah. So, and distractions, I have no distractions right now. And I pass to Griff.
I'm distracted because every time I plug in this second monitor, my computer slows down to a grind. It's really sad. Anyway, my intention is to see what's blocking anybody, see what we did. I forgot that this was the review call. I thought it was just a sync, but that's cool. Yeah, it is just a sync. Okay, cool. So then I'm hopeful that people will be like, yo, Griff, you're blocking me. And then I can be like, okay, let's unblock this and schedule a time or whatever. That's what I'm expecting. And then distractions, I need to check the board. I haven't looked at it much this week, so I will pass it to Zeptimus.
Thank you, Griff. My intention is, as everyone, sing with all of us and see what we can do together. Synchronize and keep pushing this project together. I'll pass it to Santi.
Okay, same here. Just sync with everyone, see if there's any blockers that I can help with, and just get to know who is working on everyone else. No distractions here. I'll just pass it to Craig.
We can't hear you, Craig. I can't hear you, Craig.
He's trying to get that helicopter again.
Yeah. Metaverde, would you like to go next? Attentions and distractions.
Excellent, thank you. My attention is on getting deeper into token engineering commons and figuring out how it works, and finding my way connecting the DAO ecosystems. And my distraction is today I'm managing to kind of sublimate my distraction about the horrible day job that I'm leaving, and kind of being pulled for casual stuff at one hive and having to get away. So that's where I'm at, and it's just wow. I'm really excited about the direction that everything's going, and I don't know who all went, so I'm gonna pass it to Santi if Santi hasn't gone.
I already went.
Okay, so I'll pass it to Zepti.
Zepti already went. You can pass it to Jake. Jake didn't go.
Oh, is Jake in here? Oh, of course he is. Hello, Jake. I'll pass it to you.
Okay, intentions. Yeah, I like these calls, and I also would really love to see other people tell Griff he needs to do something. I really appreciate that. I don't have any other distractions right now. The kids are pretty occupied. I'm good. I'm going to pass off to Jess.
Hey, sorry about that mix-up. That was me. I'm just gonna share my screen as to why that happened. Can you see my screen? This is what I do all day, and I crossed one of the wires, so that's what happened. For some reason, this call is not on my calendar. I need to fix it. Intentions are to wrap up this sprint and put a bow on it, even though I have not finished a few tasks. But having the sprints on Wednesday, getting used to. And I will be a bit distracted because I'm trying to do some other things because there are so many calls today, but I will try and give as much attention as possible. Also, I'm not sure who went because my had to
I can
to
take
the
it.
washroom. Go, Eduardo.
My intention for this call is to sync with everyone. Sometimes I feel that it's redundant because I just sync with everyone like a call ago. But this is a lovely part of it. So I will sync with the rest of you guys who were not on the previous call. And then my instructions is that I have a hard stop at 7 in 45 minutes. That's all. I will pass it on to Craig to see if it works.
It looks like it's working. Yes. So weird.
Mostly static, but we can sort of hear your voice just underneath the layer of static.
I don't know. I can't. Whatever.
All right. I think everyone has went. Did anyone not have a chance to go? Everyone went, right? Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. First, I think maybe we just go over the schedule. Since this is our first sprint and we're doing it for the first time, this is just the regular Wednesday call. This is not sprint related. So we'll have this call every Wednesday, just like we used to, and we'll continue to have it. It's really a sync for all of us. So if we look at the calendar, the community stewards, this regular sync call is on Wednesday. And tomorrow will be our very first retrospective, which is where we'll go through, what went well and what we could improve on in terms of like the process and anything else that comes up, and then work on action items to improve and to incorporate into the next sprint so that we do better and better each sprint. And then on Friday will be our second sprint planning. So that's sort of the schedule. And then every Wednesday, we just have our regular scheduled sync. Normally in the Scrum framework, there is a component, a meeting called the review, which is where you would show the work that you did. And since we do that every Thursday anyway on our community call, that's really taking the placeholder of what would be a traditional, Scrum review. So we're not going to have an extra meeting for that. Does anyone have any questions about that before I move on to the next point? Cool. Awesome. All right. So I'd like us to go through this document, which you guys can all feel free to jump into, please. It's called the 1, 2, 3 of using Zen and GitHub, because it's so that easy. One is use the board. The board tells everyone who will do what by when. We're all mutually accountable to commitments we've made. We're all mutually accountable to each other. And the purpose is to give visibility of what's going on in each working group. What are we working on now, and what's in our product backlog for things that we'll be working on later? You guys have already. We'll do it again this Friday. But essentially, it's the meeting where we all come together and we say what's important for our working group and the main priorities for our working group that we are focused on for the next 2 weeks. So it's like, here's what we want to do. Boom, it's on the board. And then we spend the next 2 weeks being reminded of those commitments because it's so easy to forget. So we look back at the board, you see what's assigned to you, update it. Mostly it's, other people who may want to see what's going on in your working group can look at the board and see what's going on based on where they are in the pipeline. This is the sprint 1 milestone, and we see everything that's been closed, everything that needs review, things that are blocked, things we'll go over today, what's in progress, and what still hasn't kicked off. So we're sort of using that to stay focused on our priorities. What else? So really letting everyone else know what the status is of that, of what you're working on. During this sprint retrospective, we'll do tomorrow, it's an exercise for us to collaboratively improve our process. So every 2 weeks, we have an opportunity to fix what's not working and to introduce new things and see if those things work. It's a really cool opportunity. And, it's essentially why Agile is called Agile, because every 2 weeks we refresh our priorities and we ensure that our process is as efficient and as good for us as it can be. Okay, so that's number one, use the board. Number two, make the most of issues and epics. So how do we do that, right? We do that by keeping our issues up to date. It doesn't have to be a lot of, it doesn't have to be a paragraph. It can be a link to the document that's in progress, or it can be looping somebody in to let them know that there might need to be a step from them, and or somebody that should know about something. It might impact another working group, and this is the way to make sure that that steward is aware of what's happening. When you use the notifications like this, so at Libya, at Jeff, at Griff, you can see on GitHub everything that you've been mentioned in. And when you go to everything you've been mentioned on, you can go through the list and make sure that if you've been looped into an issue, you can respond to that issue so that that steward or that contributor who's working on that issue can continue their work or isn't blocked by anything. And then in the, making the most of issues and epics category is also what is an issue and what is an epic. And I think it's starting to become pretty clear for everyone. And if it's not, no problem. We can keep showing examples and doing it, learning it by doing it. An issue is essentially just one discrete piece of work that we can put into a 2-week sprint. There should be one person assigned to each issue, and that is really for accountability and also one responsible for that piece of work. There might be 5 people working on it, but that one person is going to ensure that it's coordinated and that it moves along, that it doesn't get stuck. So if 5 people are assigned to an issue, that issue is just not going to move. Unless all 5 people at the same time decide that they should start working on it. And logistically, it ends up not. It ends up shared accountability ends up being equivalent to like no accountability. So the person is responsible to make sure that work gets done. The person that's assigned might ask for advice process, or might ask for another meeting, or might ask for a piece of information from another group, or may just need to coordinate with other people to make sure that piece of work can get done. And then an epic, quite simply, there are a number of issues and they're all of the same theme. So they can get rolled into one epic. And the best analogy is if you think of a filing cabinet and a file, and all of the documents that are in a file that are related to the same category, it's exactly what it's like. An example is like the website. If a website refresh will have some front-end tasks, some back-end tasks, some content, some reviews, this kind of things, and all of those can simply be in one epic, so that all of the pieces of work can be tracked together. Okay, number 3, keep it simple. So this is about focusing on doing the work, not managing the work. This is exactly what ZenHub is designed for. And I want people not to worry about some things. So I don't want you to worry about worrying if you have enough issues. Like the number of issues that is in a working group is not indicative of the progress that working group is making. Issues really don't matter. What really matters is that we're sharing with each other the work that we're doing and how the progression of that work. It's for visibility and transparency into working groups and between working groups. And oh no, at the end of the sprint, so if anyone is feeling like, I didn't do anything, and don't panic, don't worry. I just want you to know you're normal. That's normal, that happens. But that's what we use the retrospective for, to just figure out why it happened, and then the next sprint we can correct it. Things that may happen is there may be a particular project, a particular issue that is burning hot priority, and it supersedes everything that was in your plate. if that happens, we just sort of discuss it at the retrospective, and we all, feel like that totally makes sense. It could be we just took on too much for a particular sprint, and we need to reevaluate the amount that we take on for that sprint. In the sprint planning, I mentioned that we should look at it being about 3 to 4 hours a day, essentially because there's also meetings and there's calls and there's coordination and there's administration. There's so many other things we do with our day. So in your personal sprint, you should average something like 3 or 4 hours a day. It's a sane amount to anticipate. And lastly, if it's not in the sprint backlog, yeah, you could definitely still work on it. There's other things that we will be working on that might not be assigned to the sprint that still need to make progress. But what we put in the sprint is what we say, we're going to finish this. We're going to do it. This is going to be our priority. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to the next thing? Or comments?
If you're going to start working on something, is it best practice to move it into the sprint, to move it along the board, but not put it in the sprint? Like if it's not in the sprint, but you want to add to it, like what do you do?
Yeah, I would move it. I would just move it into along the pipelines as well. I would just move it into the
Okay, but don't add it to the sprint.
Yeah, gray area. I think the answer is no, but I think the answer is no. Sorry, I'm hearing myself twice. Is everyone hearing me twice as well? Sorry, I'm hearing myself.
It's probably me.
Hearing me twice
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
Okay, let me try now. Yeah, Griff, thanks. Yeah, so I guess what we want to avoid is moving things in and out of the sprint all along the sprint. So no, don't add it to the sprint. If it wasn't in the sprint, the first, second, third sprint, hey, let's be flexible. Let's get a good feel for this. Let's bend the rules a little bit. So the first 3 sprints, okay, let's move things in and out. But after we as a team have our rhythm together, we shouldn't get into the habit of moving things into the sprint a week into the sprint or moving things out of the sprint a week into the sprint. We should improve on scoping our work and our priorities and then meeting those commitments. So if that answers your question, we could be a little loose with it now, but eventually I'd like us to be really strong on it. Okay, any other questions or comments? Then I'm going to jump around and I'm going to show the really cool agenda that Ivy worked on. And I guess it is essentially the idea that there are some pieces that we need to have in our agenda, like the disclaimer about video recordings. And we thought, okay, well, maybe it's a good time for us to standardize an agenda for each of the working groups, so we all have sort of a uniform front. And I would love if you guys can help Ivy to make the best agenda for all of us. Essentially, she'd like to have help with the wording for our message of being recording. I think it was, my feedback was, it was a little strong, the original one, which I might be using here, or I might have changed a little bit. And maybe we could just find one message the same message that we all use. And then Ivy had a question, and I don't think Juan Carlos is with us today. Okay, cool. No, but Ivy had a question around facilitator and moderator and whether we need that for every call or we use it just for the community sync call.
When I was talking with Juan, the idea was to have it for every call so that the facilitator to be the bad guy and mute Q in when he comes in. and that there's someone, or like, or if something weird is happening, there's a identified backup or someone who feels they have agency to be the other authority.
Okay.
And
So
so the idea was that at least Gravity recommended that every call have a moderator.
Right. So the moderator does the muting. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, the moderator would do the muting. The moderator would also interrupt people if they're not, if there's a clear agenda and it's not going to be met because we're staying too long on one point. The moderator can kind of back up the facilitator if there's an agenda and we're trying to do this and it's not getting done. The moderator can support. This was the idea from Juan, and he actually has a that describes each call, and the idea was that any call over like 4 or 5 people that's scheduled should have an agenda and a moderator. If it's a work session, obviously it doesn't need.
I think since I'm already doing it on for example, when somebody is doing background noise or stuff, I just muted them for the recording. I think I could help on the moderator. Yeah, just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I remember when Juan and I were talking about this around just having a certain set of people who were sort of moderators and a certain set of people who were facilitators, and that the moderator and the facilitator would kind of get together and discuss, what was going on, or until they sort of built a working relationship, just to make sure that there was, certain understanding about what we're doing and how we're doing it. We may need, maybe a document that talks about what we're doing or how we're doing it, or maybe the people who are doing it a lot already, the people who are doing the recording and other stuff might facilitate some of that. But I do remember talking to Juan about it so as to create a situation where the meetings flowed more smoothly, and this would reduce friction and make people happier to participate.
okay, cool. Okay, great. And then so I'll make sure Ivy gets that feedback actually, or maybe we'll put it in here. Give me 1 moment. This is a better place to do it. I guess, and then us as stewards need to just sort of figure out who is playing that, who can support in that role. Septimus, I think it's actually great for you since you and Ivy would be in every call. It's a really good idea. Okay, we have a few new people. Jim, welcome. I think that's your name. Jason Boras. Just to let you know, it's the Community Stewards call, and you're welcome to stay and listen. It's our weekly sync call. Let us know if you have any questions. Okay, so then let's jump to the Zen board, the big board, and let's talk about what's blocked. Jake and Jess, do you want to speak about what is blocked in these here? Jake, for you, it's propose the voting strategy.
Yeah, we're making ground on that. It's going to be some time though, because we're working with Wes and his development of token log. Also, YGG is making ground with his CAD models, of course. As far as that's still going to be blocked because we're going to wrap that up probably over this weekend. But even after that, this will be next spring. I'm not going to be able to make ground on this until these other things are in place.
Yeah, let's hack on this weekend, Jake.
Like we always do. And then you change everything. I kind of wonder why I even come.
This one's almost already done. You come to make sure I do it.
But yeah, anyways, that, and then as far as also the review and QA, we got the spec done. I also commented in that issue on issue 70 It's out on HackMD. It looks really, really nice. But we have further more to, that whole actual issue. There's a lot more involved in it. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So we're hacking away on the subtask. Now, of course, we come to review, and that's kind of working back towards the forum post as well. So this is all a work in progress, but we are making progress. So all of that should actually just work out. I think so. So
yeah, Sem's doing the last review on this spec today, and I'm going to try to post it on the forum today, so that will be done.
Yeah, and Sean's made really good ground on the models, so a lot of this is going to be right there for people to see, and then we can start putting all of that together in the forum. And I'll go probably at that time. I'll be back to having my forum calls about the hatch params, tech params, and my calls. I hope once a week about getting people engaged in this, and then forum posts again over the weekend. So we're moving right along.
Yeah, and the other issue on that review column is work with OneHive Buzz Team. We have that settled. We hired Chewy, and he's really awesome. I love his energy, love his organization. Pretty excited about it. But we're gonna have a call today to finish the plan. Because the real issue here is that we tried to ask for money from OneHive, and they were like, "Who the hell are you? You took our money and ran. Some other community. What the fuck?" And so then it's like, "Oh wait, but we love you guys. Okay, sorry, OneHive comms." So now we're here.
Okay, cool, excellent. It's good to know. And Santi, I think. Well, this is Griffin Santi. Sorry, this is TC Hatch terms and conditions. Review.
We've been working on that. We're almost done with that. I would say it's a draft, done, finished document that some guys on the legal group have to take a review on it, and after that, it's going to be finished. So I wouldn't close it, but it should be pretty. We would be able to close it pretty soon.
Okay. Are you able to drop the document in here? Or is there a legal reason?
I will drop it. I was thinking on that when you guys were talking, and I will just drop it there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not fair because the legal working call is on Friday. It's not fair.
All right, cool. So that's the review and blocked columns. Just want to make sure everything that is being asked for attention is getting the attention it needs. And then let's go through the updates for each group. Livia, would you like to start with soft dev?
Yeah, and also as we spoke briefly today, Tim, I was thinking maybe this time could be to give like very human updates, not so like board updates, since we are doing the planning, and then just to make sure we have some time to hear each other. And I would love also if we could, like, each one of us give a sense of the community. So how have you, like, being a steward that is everywhere and going to so many calls and involved in so many projects, like, how are you feeling the community in general? If you have any observations, anything you want to bring to the collective attention. So I'll start with.
Can I just say one thing? We had the same conversation, but I heard we should have another, like, just an exercise just for stewards to do that together in a specific call. Because it's true. The like, what does it feel like to be a steward, and let's share on a more personal level. And I thought, oh yeah, we should definitely have, a time for us to do that. But I didn't think you meant to sync. we can figure out how to do that well. We can do both.
I just thought that adding more calls would be too much, but maybe we can have a time that we can talk about this, but in a way that maybe this half sprint meeting is something like that. But I'll try to go quick since we have. Jess, you wanted to say something?
Can I comment about that or should I wait? Sorry, you guys are both very good at requesting in a really nice way, but I guess I'm more direct. I am feeling more on the Livia side. Like I feel like a lot of resistance is coming up about some of the sprint meetings because there are so many calls. And I think I'm going to actually start, and I hope it's okay to say no to some. Like for me, some of the calls haven't been as productive, at least for me, because I feel a pressure to like, I'm not even finished with the sprint to be able to like talk about it because I don't feel I've had enough time to work on it. And that's me and like my time management, and also saying no to calls maybe, and like asking for more internal communication so that we don't have to go to those calls. But I do feel it's really important wherever we fit it in to have some space and not feel like there's a goal and an outcome and a thing, because I feel like in that space is where like some really important insights come up. And because we are trying to focus on the human, and it is a very delicate balance, and I'm not saying one way is right, I'm just reflecting like I'm feeling like this pressure, and then the sprint, I haven't done the sprint. So I hope we can find like continue to like explore what this balance is, which may be different for each of us, and have some space to flow it together in this like balance.
When you say there are some meetings you need to say no to, which are those meetings, Jess?
I think it's just, yes, I guess the main one is like, and where's, I guess for me, like some of the onboarding meeting discussions about hatchers, I don't feel like super applicable for me. I'm more focused on like the onboarding the projects to submit proposals, and actually have even tried to step back from that. So I guess we have discussed a couple of times having better internal communications, like not only having agendas, but kind of a little bullet point report so that we can feel better to like say no or step back from meetings. So maybe that's like an action point to improve. And I don't know, is anyone else feeling this way or is it just me? So I don't want to interrupt the flow either in the process. Sorry, I sometimes don't know like where and what space to bring certain things because.
Yeah, I'd just like to respond to that because I think, Santi, did you want to say something too? Do you want to just give me 1 minute and then I'll pass to you? I think that I hear what you're saying. I think that the objective really for the community stewards is for us to have such good communication and such good processes in place so that we don't need to go to each of the meetings to get an update from that group. So for the onboarding is a great example. You know, if you want to know what they're doing on a particular week, you can go look at their agenda. And then if you want to see what the onboarding working group is working on this sprint, you just go to the working group and you see what they're working on. And, you know, if you want to reach out to Eduardo because he has such a nice accent, you can always reach out to Eduardo because he has such a nice accent. So, yeah, I think that that's exactly what we're trying to do. So you don't have to feel like you have to be in every one of these meetings, which certainly is the point, and you show up to the ones that you really are interested in or really make sense for you to be there. Santi, I think you had something you wanted to say, and then we have 20 minutes left to this meeting.
No, just real quick. I was reviewing the issue, and the document is there. If it's the same issue that you were showing, it's that 244 or 234. You're muted.
Let's check the board. It was 234.
Oh, 234, because then there's two of them. I was posting it in 244. Let me just, well, we can go over that later on after the meeting.
Yeah. Okay. Would anybody else like some space to respond to that previous discussion or? Okay. Livia, would you like to continue with your update?
Mata Verde, you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I just really wanted to quickly say that I really felt like the kind of meeting overwhelmed last week with DAO Rush Week, and then also getting involved with Token Engineering Commons. And it is really important to take care of ourselves. And we're not going to really get a lot of benefit from the meetings if it's something that we feel like we have to go to, and we're kind of like forcing ourselves to pay attention. And it is okay to, Jessica, it is okay to feel like there's too many meetings for what you have going on. I mean, that was my only addition. It's like, don't feel bad about it. If that, I mean, I assume that's okay to say. We're supposed to be taking care of ourselves, right?
Yeah, and I think these meetings should be designed by us for us to feel the purpose of what we're all trying to do together. So, what if we do? Would it be okay to write in the agenda, or write in the chat what are the things that you would like to focus in everyone in the meetings that are not a sprint planning? And then we can have this, like before we had a collaborative agenda, that we would put up, and then each one would put the topics they wanted to discuss. And then this started to get a little bit messy because eventually we had many more points than we had time to cover. So maybe if we together think about a structure that would work for this middle meetings, like in between one sprint planning and another, and what is being felt like it's not working, or what in our collaboration could improve, or what are we feeling that is is there something that is too heavy? Is there something that could be introduced, like a round of jokes or something? I don't know, what can we bring on to make it lighter?
Thank you,
and
Libby. I think that's better addressing, I guess, or articulating what it is that I'm trying to raise that sometimes I'm not sure how to express. It's not like about my personal feelings and feeling bad. It's more, I think it's like being patient, or like re-examining the format of the meetings. Because yeah, it was like this one way, and now it's like only the board and all the board. And like, I guess I feel like, yeah, just figuring out, I feel like there's some things that need to be addressed that aren't maybe on the board, like the human part.
I would say that this feels like something for the retrospective, and that means tomorrow. So I would like to give the strategy a chance and not preempt it. I trust Tam in the way that she's trying to get us to launch, and we have space to change things.
I think it's a bit what we talked about, Jess, that you told me to bring up to the community store meeting. I was explaining, I used I will just take 2 minutes. And it's basically, I used to work as a film photographer back in the day. I mean, 5 years ago. And then what happens is that usually in film, you never know what will come out. So you either work in your process rather than focusing on the results, but taking into consideration the results. Just working more in the process of working with your models, working with whatever you are photographing. And at the end, if as you expected, because it's film, it can happen, and anything can happen with film. You don't know what will come out of that image. But if you pay attention to the process, then you can repeat the process over and over because you pay attention to it. So for me, when Tom came also with these strategies and stuff, I'm not used to use Hub, but for me, it was about just trying to believe in the process and trying to understand that that process exists for a reason. That process, I'm not an expert on it, so I would just trust the person who believes in this, because if she believes in this, there is a reason for it. And I think it's a really also interesting process of bonding, because it will give us also a piece of empathy and understanding in to everyone, and to also to the time she has put on this. So for me, it's about, I came from this experience that has nothing to do with tech or crypto or token engineering, which is photography and film photography. For me, it applies to the same kind of trust in the process and just believing on it. That's it.
Thanks, Eduardo. That was really kind.
I hope it's not being perceived. I don't know how this is being perceived, and maybe I'm not communicating in the best way. But no, I'm open to this. I didn't even see on the calendar tomorrow that there is a sprint retro. Just that I was confused that we were addressing the sprint and then we're going to do the sprint retro tomorrow feels a little bit repetitive. I guess I wasn't quite clear on what is like what we're doing today. It's just going over the blockers mostly, and then
So, this is our first sprint. Why don't we just take it as it comes and improve the next sprint? And I see that there's definitely some call, I think totally valid, to have some sort of like personal touch to this weekly sync as well. So let's take that as an action to improve on and improve it next sprint. And in these last 13 minutes, I'd love for everyone to share what their working group is working on. And Livia, would you like to do it now?
Yeah, sorry if I disrupted the process. I just wanted to add a touch of like what we could encompass to if people wanted to share something like yeah, I think I'm focusing SoftGov, focusing on the code of conduct document and refining that and working on the proposals to have it a flow. And then it was really nice today. Zeptimus proposed something to the advice process, and that will move to the forum voting. So it feels like the flow is starting to happen. We'll test for the first time, like the full process. And yeah, I think it's going well. The document, we had a good call yesterday, and then there was one thing to be addressed, that is what is in the TE scope. And then today we had a call with Shebnan with the working group 0, and it was really cool actually. And then it feels like this will finally start to be addressed, this point of what is in the scope. And then this was another thing I wanted to ask everyone, that I invited her to join us in the stewards group, because she will be facilitating the working group 0. And that's it for me, and I pass to Santi.
Great. I don't know if I should grab the whiskey bottle or wait. Anyway, we've been diving on the last weeks on this document, the hatching terms. We work on Sunday with Griff to try to catch up, and hopefully we'll get it done by next Friday. Ready for review from one of the legal guys joining the working group. And once that's done, pretty done with what I was expecting to do during this week. I'm open to get any additional legal stuff for the group to start working on, because I don't think we have any other important stuff moving forward to focus on. So we can discuss that tomorrow for us. And I'll pass it to Eduardo.
Thank you, Santi. So on the onboarding working group right now, we basically were hatching, onboarding hatchers with Griff. We were meeting some people and so on, and we have no blocker really on the hatching side, more than the time that we can dispose to give, we can give to onboard people on the hatching side, and eventually, as we get better on it, we will probably be able to onboard more people because we will be more trained on that sense. So that for the reason we are doing this of process of onboarding ourselves, so we can also check and see our pitches, how they are, if they need to improve, if we are bad at asking for a self-commitment, so we are trying to do this onboarding ourselves first with Septimus, Tam, and someone else that I just forgot. And so we are doing this and this process. And regarding the proposals, it's the one that it's getting a little bit. It was a little bit slow, and that's on me. And I explained this to Tam at some point. I will explain to everyone in a very short time. My last month has been a little bit hectic, so the time that I've been able to give to proposal onboarding has been quite limited. That changed this Monday since I finally found a house. So my time will be distributed again in a normal way. So I will reach back and put like let's say an accelerator. Accelerator on the process of onboarding proposals. That on that side, on the side, besides that, on the side of the forum, we just trying to pull out with Chris some aspects that will help us to onboard people and to facilitate engage with the people that we are onboarding. So that's basically on that matter. I will pass it on to Septimus.
Can I jump in just for 1 minute?
Yes.
So I want to add just to the to what Eduardo was speaking about onboarding hatchers and onboarding us being all of us. The people that are very active in the TE community, all of us that have C-Stack tokens from impact hours, that basically everyone in this room. So the reason that the way I look at it too is like the reason that we're onboarding us is because we are the trusted seed. So we are people that will be hatchers, and it's partly practice, but more so that I don't know, we give ourselves the gravity that we deserve to speak with each other about becoming hatchers and give soft commitments. Since we're asking other people to give soft commitments, let's do it first. So that was just the point. And Septi, if you'd like to pick up transparency.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I like to point out, like what Griff said, that it's the most important thing is to stick together, and that's awesome that you bring it up. So thank you. And for transparency, we initiate the advice process, and we already have very nice feedback from Libby. So before going through the vote, we are going to design the system, and yeah, we should do a brainstorming session with Ivy and someone who want to join, and then we are going through the vote. But after we have the system of the audit, all the checklist and everything. I don't know who I should pass to. Maybe Jake.
Yeah, hi. Well, personally, I love this because this is something I'm more used to. I had to try and relate, but communication is everything. And more importantly, I fully expect success. So I personally know that we're not going to be able to constantly keep up with each other in these calls because we're going to be too busy doing what our working group does. I fully expect that. So having this moving forward is going to be crucial if we can, utilize it in a proper manner so we all know where everybody is. Because I'm not going to be able to. I mean, I don't expect to. That's just me. I'm used to a high level, and that's where I want to be, and I fully expect all of us to be there as well. Now, that doesn't mean you can't talk to me or help or any of that. I'm always open, but I really want to see this kind of become this higher level stage. So then that's what we do here, and we communicate where we're at with our groups, because I truly fully expect every one of you to be really damn busy, and that's the way we should be. And we do need to keep a human happy environment, of course, because when you do have a huge workload, it can suck. I mean, and it sucks being behind, and it sucks having a bunch on your shoulders. But that's why we're here. And I will always be here. And I don't know, but maybe I'm kind of misunderstanding too. But I like this, and it's something I'm more used to because I'm more accustomed to having a high level of stuff in front of me, and that's okay. And I just get after it one step at a time. Next step, next step, next step, next step, and let's go. Other than that, I really don't have any blockers. I'm gonna continue moving along. I should start having TEC param calls again pretty soon, so we can engage this community moving forward about the hatch. Other than that, yeah, if you need help, just ask. I mean, I'm still getting used to some of the things myself, but I fully actually have a whole nother set of gears, and I'd really like to start using them. So let's just team up and let's go, because I really, really do.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you for your inspirational speech, Jake. It's really, really great to hear you talk.
I have a hard stop, so I will leave you guys. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, and I hope they call in as well.
Cool. Griff, do you want to give an update on Garden Swarm? If we can. I know we have not too many minutes. We still have communication.
I mean, I gave it most of it already, but the Chewy is onboarded. Garden Swarm is focused on the freezing the hatch contracts this week. That's the goal. That's our mission. Sam was sick a little bit last week, but we onboarded Gabby to support us for the next 2 weeks, pretty much almost full on. So that's Gabby's used to work for Aragon 1 and also worked for the Aragon DAC back in the day before Common Stack was a thing. So we're very lucky. I think that we will be able to. I don't see anything on this that I really need to talk about here, but I think we're making good progress, and we'll have some big. Oh, well, I posted. There is a forum post on upgrading to disputable conviction voting, and we're going to be able to do that in the hatch already, even. So for this commons upgrade, so there is a advice process forum post. That's it.
Okay, cool. And Jess, would you like to close us out?
I don't really have much to say for comms. It's going. I don't feel any blockers. Yeah, that's pretty much, things are in progress, and I have lots of not meetings, but work sessions scheduled with Jake and Marco to take care of some different content. Other than that, I think it's pretty much in progress. And I just hope we can continue to be open to exploring the balance. And I understand this is a new process, and I trust you, Tamara. And I also am very familiar with sprints. I guess I know that the reason that people are drawn to this community is because of the human part. So I just want to figure out how we can maintain the human part while also being super efficient and getting stuff done and being hyper focused. I hope that that's clear, and please feel free to ask me if you have any questions about what I was intending to communicate.
And just
Much
for
better
gravity,
in writing.
remember gravitons start tomorrow, so don't. That's the big update from.
Yeah, is everyone going?
Again, is that in the calendar?
No, it's not on our calendar.
No, yeah. Will someone throw that in there?
Yeah, it's not on our calendar. Oh, it's the Gravity Working Group. It's at the same time slot as the Gravity Working Group.
Oh, okay.
It is, but I'll change it right now. I'll make it a little more fun.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you everyone for your time today and for all the feedback and all the coordination and collaboration you do. And I'll see you all later.